Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, and now spreading to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Red Tide Rising, our Vampire the Masquerade chronicle set in the city of Tampa, Florida, as a part of the greater Tampaverse. This is where a young pack of Anarch kindred attempt to establish themselves, carve out a little bit of domain for themselves and for their benefactor, Solomon Creed. You are in for one wild ride with this story as these characters take part in a ever-evolving blood trade that has started within Florida. Now, let's go ahead and introduce the players that make this story possible. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good evening. My name is Garrett, and tonight I will be playing Augustus Adelaide III, the Thin Blood.
Howdy, howdy. My name is Ace, and I will be playing Bo Jean Walker, a Toreador.
My name is Scott, and I'll be playing Jeremiah Lockwood of Clan Malkavian.
And my name is Freya, and I will be playing Valentina, and she is a ghoul.
Well, players, this is the first ever session of Red Tide Rising, and I'm very excited to introduce the opposite side of the coin of our greater Tampaverse as we delve into the world of kindred, and specifically Anarchs. Tampa has been in a state of revolt ever since the death of Prince Marius and the Sheriff Bloody Mary, caused by some local guru who've been stirring up trouble for the kindred at large. Needless to say, the city has been diced into sections and into factions, all hoping to carve out a piece of territory for themselves, to establish their dominance, to make a name amongst the kindred society. And you just happen to be one small piece of that pie, as the ministry anarch known as Solomon Creed has started to make a name for himself in hopes of establishing himself as a baron. He has cut into the blood trade, cutting off the resources of the circulatory system and establishing a system of his very own. System that you, as kindred, are going to help him establish by any means necessary. Now, for one reason or another, you've found yourself in the service of Solomon Creed, whether willingly or unwillingly, and in hopes of repaying that debt that you owe, you must do as asked or risk the consequences of crossing a very, very dangerous member of the ministry. Now let's get to our story. Valentina Ramos, former ghoul of a La Sombra, now a bit of a freelancer in terms of ghouls. Valentina, you have been surviving off of the generosity, whether forced or otherwise, of other kindred to maintain your abilities, all while trying to avoid the ever-watching gaze of your former domitor, Athame. You've opened up a bar known as the Waiting Owl, a establishment that is capable of providing live music, but also a gathering place for your coterie. A coterie of unlikely individuals, fellow anarchs, who have made this their main meeting spot as they continue to do work for Solomon Creed in the area known as Sulphur Springs, a suburb of Tampa. Why don't you go ahead and describe for me the Waiting Owl as best as you can to help introduce people to this place that we will likely be revisiting time and time again moving forward.
I'm so sorry. Would you be able to say that one more time? My headphones just destroyed my ability to hear you.
So just go ahead and describe the Waiting Owl as best as you can.
Gotcha. The Waiting Owl is a 2-story building. It has... it's made of brick. It is very much a dive bar of a dive bar. On the first floor, the moment you walk in, on the left side, there is a long mahogany bar that runs all along the left side of the room, with backlit shelves that display whiskeys, mezcals, other small batches of different spirits. Small round tables sit near the front windows of the bar, and along the right side of the bar itself, there are deep booths lining the wall. In the back right corner, there was a small, elevated little stage, just big enough for maybe about a small 3-piece jazz band or an acoustic duo, or even, heck, a spoken word night of poetry and other things. And that is the first floor of the Waiting Owl.
At the first floor is the bartender, a retainer of the coterie named James Kennedy, or affectionately known as Jimmy. Jimmy is a young man, probably in his mid-20s, with well-coiffed, dark brown hair and dazzling blue eyes. He's the kind of person that you'd easily overlook or take for granted. A little bit of your La Sombra heritage coming back in your choice of this retainer. But it's perfect because it allows him to see all, hear all, witness all that happens within the Waiting Owl so that he can report as necessary to the coterie, but also ensure the safety of the bar. It's a particularly quiet evening as you come downstairs from your upstairs apartment. Looking over the crowd, there's a handful of the regulars sat at the tables or bar, or maybe even a couple in the booth. A performance is wrapping up by the locally famous Eugene Walker, a country western artist who is a solo performer, just their voice and a guitar, which is a very dazzling affair to anyone who looks on or is able to witness it. Because of the quiet nature of the evening, you have been tasked with getting the rest of the coterie together, as your mission from Solomon, tonight's assignment, is yet to arrive, but once it does, the clock will have started on completing that particular assignment. As you scale down the stairs approaching the bar, Jimmy looks to you and says, "Hey boss, got a parcel for you." And he takes a yellow manila envelope and slides it across the bar to you.
Valentina just puts her hands on it and brings it up to her and slowly opens it, just peering inside to take a little look.
As you open the parcel, out spills a single piece of paper with text upon it and a photograph. The photograph is of a rather gothic building, more specifically the upstairs location of a business near Ybor City known as Evanesce, a tattoo and body modification parlor. It's got a purple, almost glowing lettering over the sign, purple drapes over the windows, a small halogen sign that says tattoo down in the corner, and a stone staircase that goes from the sidewalk up to the second floor directly over the business that sits beneath, a small market, a mini mart shop that is otherwise overshadowed by this eccentric building that sits above. The letter says, "Hello, loves. This is your first assignment this evening, and I hope you don't disappoint. You should be receiving a package in an unmarked van at midnight tonight. You are to take this package directly to a man known as Vesper, the proprietor of Evanesce Tattoo Parlor. In return, this will establish relations with Vesper, an individual who is not to be trifled with. So I explicitly express to you that you are not to do anything to the package before it arrives. If it is disturbed in any way and Vesper takes notice, this will only be more problems for me, which in turn means more problems for you. Do as I ask, and you will be rewarded. Fail? Well, don't fail." Signed, Solomon Creed.
Valentina, with this information, looks over at Bo and kind of gives a look, a nod, something that's been given a couple times before, just to signify, we got something to do.
Speaking of Bo Gene Walker, let's go check in with them. Toreador. Now, this word has had many meanings, but all of them equal artistry. And Bo isn't your typical Toreador. Now, many of them prefer painting or classical music or opera. But Bo, due to your down-home country roots, you have decided to become a country artist. And you have called the Waiting Owl your stage. Now, you have toured other locations in the past, maybe making one-off stops, open mic nights, but this has been your home locale for some time. And you've actually managed to gather quite a following and eke out a bit of a living for yourself based off of tips and the payments you receive. But really, this is just your passion. Your obligation is to Solomon Creed. Your obligation is to your coterie and to the movement. But it's not your only obligation, is it?
No, it ain't.
as you finish up another performance to a small crowd, you can't be surprised as it is a midweek audience and the weekends are where you truly shine. But knowing the importance of this evening, knowing that Solomon is going to have expectations for you, you decided to do an impromptu performance, maybe to settle your nerves, maybe just to already be in the restaurant or in the bar at the time that you were supposed to meet. But go ahead and roll me a charisma and performance check just to see how successful this performance actually was.
And can I add my awe to that?
Absolutely. So go ahead and add presence.
That is 7 successes with a critical on the hunger die.
So, as the last note strums out, echoing throughout the room, the notes reverberating off of the walls, you holding on to the last pitch of your voice ringing out over the crowd. The audience stares at you in rapt attention, absolutely pulled in by everything you have to sing. Whether they're a country fan or not, tonight, at this very moment, they are. Because of your voice, because of your talent. However, with a critical, including a hunger die that is a messy critical, and your hunger increases by 1. As you have exerted a little extra effort into this performance, you can feel almost like a fire burning at your throat. You can feel a pressure reaching up into the back of your mind, clawing, desperate for that sustenance that has allowed you to wake every night, that has allowed your life to continue since the day you were taken. As you deal with this craving creeping its way over you, that's when you notice your coterie mate, your employer of sorts, although you would hardly call them that due to their position as a ghoul, but out of decent respect, out of good manners, you'll allow the title to continue. You see Valentina over at the bar, giving you a look and gesturing you over.
Bo will set down the guitar, their fingers lingering on the neck for a moment too long, having an internal conversation with the beast before retracting their hand and walking off stage to meet Valentina.
Now we go to outside of the establishment as the remaining 2 members of the coterie arrive. Outside of the Waiting Owl, we find Augustus Adelaide III, also known as August. Now, August, you've arrived at the Waiting Owl, a common gathering place for you, a 2-story brick building with an amber light shining out through the windows and a very, very notable owl sign above the door, with one eye glowing more than the other as it looks down upon the patrons who decide to enter into the nest. You've been here time and again, but just looking up at that sign, you can't help but feel and remember what it is to be a Duskborn. Now, you may masquerade as a Tremere for all intents and purposes, but eyes are always upon you. Should they discover your secret, it only means danger. it only means doom. What's going through August's head as he arrives outside of the bar once again?
As he has this sort of continued and often revelation, sometimes even forgets himself, he can't help but smile. He feels that weakness, and he feels that other people see it within him, and he doesn't see it there in himself. And he waits a moment before looking back at his driver, and he sort of nods to them, and he'll begin his way.
They give a nod in return as you climb out of the vehicle. Now, Sulphur Springs isn't exactly a hot spot in the greater Tampa area, as this location is nestled up against the Hillsborough River that runs by. Mostly, this is an area where cars will pass through, but this late at night, anybody who's coming through Sulphur Springs has a purpose, whether it's returning home for the evening or heading off to a late night shift at work. The Waiting Owl is truly the only location within several blocks that has any kind of pull to an outgoing audience. Now, this is preferable to you because being overlooked is a state that you constantly enjoy, because it also allows others to underestimate you. Now, you were brought here this evening away from your study, away from your rest, because of an assignment passed down from your benefactor, Solomon Creed. What are your thoughts on Solomon Creed and the assignments that you are being given by him?
Solomon is a means to an end, and as far as August knows, the feeling is mutual. There is a weight hanging over him of the information Solomon holds, but he tries every waking moment that he has to level that playing field. So this mission, this task, he'll do, and he'll do the next one after that, and the next one after that, as long as he gets what he needs and what he wants.
And what are your thoughts on the Anarch movement at large? They are one of the only sects that has openly, for the most part, welcomed the Thin Bloods and Duskborn into their ranks, but not without its fair share of discrimination. But they don't necessarily know what you are. But what are your thoughts on the Anarch movement?
If you fight the bad fight, you'll fight forever. If you fight the good fight, there's a possibility you might win. The Anarchs have been fighting for centuries.
Indeed they have. So as you take an unnecessary breath, preparing yourself to enter into the facility, this is when the last member of your coterie arrives, Jeremiah Lockwood. Some might call you a madman, a lunatic, child of the moon. Others might call you a seer, someone who has wisdom beyond the reach of others. But your coterie calls you Jeremiah. Perhaps the most dedicated to the movement. Jeremiah Lockwood, I would ask, what are your thoughts and feelings on your benefactor, Solomon Creed, and the movement at large as you arrive at the meeting place of your coterie?
Jeremiah is ride or die for the Anarchs. It is a cause, a purpose that lets him pretend like he's more than just a bloodsucker. As for Solomon, he respects him. You know, he's a part of the movement. He is working to better the state of the city for all people who don't live and breathe, as it were. But he also thinks of himself much more of an equal than Solomon probably does, and let's be honest, he probably isn't. But he has standing in the movement, Jeremiah does, and he has friends, he has allies beyond the city. So he thinks he's pretty well placed to make his own movement and progress within the politics of the city.
Now, being originally from up north in Atlanta, Georgia, what was it about Tampa and Florida as a whole that appealed to you, that drew you here?
Well, he first came here in his breathing days. It was where he got his first job out of college. It was one of the first and best places that he could establish himself without having to draw from the resources of his parents, which had been recently withdrawn from him. So half a 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. It was the right place at the right time.
How does Jeremiah view this opportunity that's been presented in Tampa? Long known as a Camarilla stronghold, the cracks started to form just over a year ago, and rapidly the city has fallen into a state of disrepair and decay. Aside from the downtown area, which remains seemingly strong and secure, the outreaches have started to fracture and shatter as small groups have started to make claims of their own, including yours. What does Jeremiah think of the city of Tampa now?
He loves an opportunity. He loves it when the iron is hot. He was nomadic for the first part of his own life, and the offer that came from Solomon to get established, to really move the needle in a serious way, was too tempting for him to turn down. So he's here. He's in it to win it. He's ready to go.
So as you arrive, you approach the building, the looming owl looking down. You see August, your coterie mate, stepping into the building just ahead of you, you bringing up the rear. Looking through the windows, you can see Bo and Valentina near the bar. You have a special connection with Valentina, especially due to her Domitor and the rivalry you have concocted with them. But more of that to be explored later. As you enter into the building, the coterie is reformed. Go to them now. As August and Jeremiah enter into the room, Jimmy starts the task of ushering the patrons out of the bar, saying that it's closing time. And on a weekday night, you close a little bit earlier. One, to give you the opportunity and space as a coterie to discuss business. But also, two, the business isn't really that good, and the operating costs of keeping a bar open on a night like this outweigh the profit you would make from the sparse crowd that populates it. Once the last of the patrons leaves, giving a kind of curious and also jealous look over to the new arrivals who make their way into the bar, assuming that they're getting some sort of preferential treatment or the ability to access the libations behind the bar outside of opening hours. Jimmy locks the door, giving a nod over to Valentina and the other members of the coterie before he starts cleaning up the tables, taking bottles off of the table surfaces, wiping them down, and taking them back to be washed with the other glasses. Now that all of you are together, scene is yours.
All right. So, you'll see as Valentina just takes the manila envelope and, retakes everything out and slides it across the bar. It's the job.
August will approach and pick up the photo.
Jeremiah will pick up the letter and scan it quickly.
Your instructions are to deliver a package that is to arrive in an unmarked van at midnight. Take it to a location known as Evanesce, a tattoo and body modification parlor in Ybor City. Now, Ybor is probably a good 20-minute or so drive from where you're located in Sulphur Springs. The traffic in Tampa being what it is at all times of day, travel is slow, even if the distance isn't that great. Now, looking at the time, it is about 11:15, which gives you a little bit of time to discuss before the package is set to arrive.
Jeremiah gives everyone a look, just a brief moment of eye contact, and he says, right, so we probably want to talk about what happened last time. I know I need to account for myself.
By whatever do you mean?
Don't. Look, things didn't go well last time. And I don't want to lean on my clan. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but we get a little nuts from time to time, and I've done enough self-analysis. I've looked over it, played it through in my head. I don't handle failure well. I just don't. So I said some things and I did some things that were offsides. They were inappropriate. And you didn't deserve that, any of you. I wish I could say that it's, fully the blood and the curse or whatever they want to call it. But no, I was like this before I got bit. But yeah, no, I was out of line. That's just a thing about me, and I'm going to try and do better, but if anyone wants to take any shots, if anyone wants to, have their say out, now's the time. I'm ready to take my licks.
Well, and he'll look to the other two members of the coterie.
Try not to let it happen again. I really, really don't like it. Just
I don't
you
like
said
it either.
You did some analysis upon yourself. I accept your apology, but try not to let it, blow out as bad next time.
Jeremiah, I appreciate the apology. Not many people take kindly to failure, and, well, reaction may have been a bit extreme. We can just reflect and move forward, try to do better. But thank you for apologizing.
Now, Jeremiah, as you receive the kind feedback from your coterie mates, I would ask you, what are your thoughts on those coterie mates, or the thoughts that you're willing to share at this time? Receiving criticism or recommendations from a ghoul of all individuals would be often looked down upon by other kindred and possibly even reacted to negatively. But because of a bond that you and Valentina share, is there respect there, or is it just biding your time?
There's respect. Jeremiah is a true believer of the Anarch ethos. And even though there's differences, even though there's extreme differences between, full kindred, ghoul, I've heard about those thin bloods, but he tries to walk the walk instead, and as well as talking the talk. Bo, he also has respect for. They shot some guns not too terribly long ago in a really tight spot, and he saw how she handled herself and definitely remembers that. And as far as August is concerned, he's got a mind that Jeremiah can't help but respect. Completely different area of expertise, which is even more impressive to him. They've had conversations about all sorts of things in the nights that they've known each other.
Valentina, go ahead.
That being said, it would be really nice if none of them fucked up again.
Well, Valentina, let's pass it to you. What are your thoughts on your fellow coterie mates? All of them definitely exceeding you in power, but maybe not in personality.
Valentina sees Jeremiah as somebody that she would not be able to successfully live her current life without. With just the amount of help that he has done for her in the past, it you know, there's a point where she expects him to be on his game, on point, and things going awry last time definitely, put her in a spot of like, this is a little odd. And she absolutely adores Bo. She is not immune to the works of awe. She's found herself many a times enjoying the music, just a little bit too in depth, very in the middle of cleaning one thing and then getting lost in the trance. And her feelings.
Oh, go ahead.
Her feelings about August is that he is somebody that knows some dangerous things, and she's scared of him. But at the same point, very much filled with respect.
Belle?
For Valentina, Bo feels a huge amount of respect and honestly kind of looks up to her a little bit. Having broken free from her dominator, something that Bo secretly wishes for themselves one day. With Jeremiah, they fought side by side. That's even in the throes of a blood bond, seeing that dedication without having that desire, that control is incredible. Not often seen. In August, accidentally beating the shit out of him while protecting the bar. Does regret that a little bit, and also holds him in high regard.
Finally, August, what are your thoughts on your fellow coterie mates?
His relationship with Jeremiah is one he can't seem to put a grasp around. He can't figure out why he enjoys their company, why he enjoys their long conversations that he has with no one else. It's a puzzle to be solved, and one that he likes to drip feed. Something that brings him catharsis in a way. Valentina is seen as a weakness for himself. They know too much about him and have so far shown that is something to be respected. It is the one thing that can hold power over him, and that's information. So he handles them with care in a way that you would with a vase you just simply cannot let go, that you don't want to drop. And Bo, unfortunate or not, he has gotten close with beyond his own ability to stop himself. Essentially, their interactions end up being more sibling-like than anything, and that is something that, again, he can't seem to grasp why this coterie works. In his mind and all the thoughts he's had, things like this are no good, and so far it's been the opposite.
Okay. So, a respect shared amongst 4 unlikely candidates. That respect has been tested as of late and will unlikely or undoubtedly be tested again in the future. But for now, seems like everybody's on the same page. But with this mission, this task presented to them, along with Solomon's warning, do not by any means interfere with the package. This is a first for this coterie to experience. Most of the packages you've received have been coolers or chests, those that haven't been overly intensely guarded. You know not to mess with the merchandise. That's pretty much the nature of the beast in terms of business. But this assignment bears extra instruction that stands out from the page, Jeremiah, as you're looking over the note. We return to our ongoing scene.
All right.
August will approach Jeremiah and slowly reach for the piece of paper he's been reading. And he'll look up at him and say, I know you won't, but well, I know you will, actually. Just don't beat yourself too much about it, all right? This world's gonna do enough of that for the both of us. And he'll begin reading the paper.
He'll trust August to co-process. He says, like, all right. So if I'm reading between the lines here, we got a live one. Is everyone else picking up on that?
That's what I thought.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
All right, then. We're going to need to assess. We don't know. We don't have any other information than what we've got here. So when they show up, I want everybody on their game. Eyes open, ears listening. Try and figure out what their deal is. Bo, you know I love that pretty face of yours. If they need, calming, everything beyond the spot for that. August, eyes open. See what you can find out. And Val, be ready for shit to go down.
And one thing that you've been able to gather also from this letter is that you're meeting a new client. Most of the clients that you've made deliveries for in the past have been regulars. You've come to recognize their faces, their names, the locales. You really don't even have to look at the instructions. It could just simply be a place and a time, and you know exactly what's required and expected. But this one, this Vesper, Evanesce Tattoo Parlor, this is new.
Have I ever heard anything about Vesper in my dealings with the local and regional anarchs?
Roll me a either intelligence and politics or streetwise. So with 3 successes, I would say that you've maybe heard of Evanesce. It's a relatively centralized location for tattoos and body modification. It's blown under the radar in a lot of the larger circles. It's not very highly talked about, but the Anarch movement as a whole has taken a specific interest in it. because of the services it can provide. Knowing that it's a kindred-owned business is also helpful. But there's also an underlying nervousness and anxiety. There are those who want nothing to do with this place, and it's even rumored to be owned by a dragon.
Now, I know that face. That's your thinking face. What do you got for us?
I've heard some things.
When haven't you?
You know me. No. This Evanescence place. It's hit some points. People know about it. It's kindred-owned business. Vesper. I can't say for certain, but the rumor mill is that they're a rare one. I don't know much about the dragons, but what I have heard, they can be a little off-putting, a little weird. So
Well, you should fit right in then.
All right. Okay. Let game face, all right? But seriously, no. So yeah, we're probably gonna see some stuff that might wig us out, So everybody's gonna be cool. Whatever it is, we can freak out later. When it's business time, we're cool as cucumbers. We are. Whatever the weirdness is, it's just another Tuesday.
At this point, August will pull out his cell phone, and he will text a contact of his, Cole. And he'll put in the name of the establishment and ask him what he's heard of the place, if there's any connections in the world of crime that he might know about.
Sure. Give me a wits and streetwise as well. However, you can add additional dice equal to the dots you have in contact.
Well, in this circumstance, I believe that would be influence.
You can do influence if you'd like. Yeah. You just add your dots and influence to wits and streetwise.
That's 2 successes.
As you call upon your contact, asking them about the location, the text message you receive in return is, I've heard of it, but I don't know much beyond that. It's a tattoo parlor. Nothing. I don't get any tattoos, so nothing for me.
He'll kind of just mumble to himself. Always seems that way on the surface. And he'll put his phone away and be like, yeah, I got nothing. But we should be prepared for this thing to arrive. We don't know who's delivering it.
Well, we'll hesitate a second before also pulling out their phone. Their fingers slowly typing as they contact their sire to see if she knows anything.
So as you reluctantly type out the message to your sire, why don't you tell us a little bit about them?
Talia. She had stalked them for a few months before finally making contact. Her smile drew them in, the way she laughed, her eyes. She got them hooked on that first meeting without ever sharing their blood, at least not at first. Then the cheating and the lying and using her vitae to control them and keep them under her thumb. Even as they feel her siren call, they are hesitant their fingers pausing, their body tensing in a way that they don't normally do.
What is the message you type out, Talia?
Do you know anything about Vesper? Trying to get information specifically on the person. So we've got a bit about the parlor itself, but we don't know anything about the person.
The message you receive back takes a moment. You see those bubbles appear and then disappear, as if they're considering their words before they appear again, and the message comes through. My beautiful desert bloom, wonderful to hear from you. I can't wait until we can make sweet music together once again. As for your request, I would need something in return.
What is it that you require?
A live performance.
Name a time and place.
Three days. My home.
Will he be there?
I wouldn't concern yourself with that.
I'll be there.
I'll hold you to that. I can't wait. As for Vesper, the Evanesce, in the long term of things, it's a rather new establishment. Something that cropped up as the city started to have troubles. It may have been there longer than that, but that's when it started to garner attention. I believe the individual in residence could be making a power play. But for which team, I'm not sure. Be careful if you cross paths with them. Coming from me, I can tell you that they are likely older than I am. Significantly older. At least as rumors go.
Thank you, my darling.
You receive a heart and a rose emoji in response.
But will quickly shut off their screen. Didn't get much, but likely older than Talia. Definitely not someone to cross.
Older. Damn. Jeremiah has been on his BlackBerry. He doesn't have a cell phone, at least a modern one. And he's been ordering 2 items that will eventually become a gift for FMA. The first, he's gone to Etsy, and he's gotten a small but really like elaborately carved wooden box that has dragons on it. And the second is from Amazon, which is one of those can of baked peanuts that pop out snakes when you open them, and he'll figure it out when they both get there, and eventually she'll have that show up somehow.
So as you're all reaching out to your individual contacts, gathering what information you can receive, I'd like all of you to roll me a wits and awareness. Success for Jeremiah. August.
That is 4 successes. It's a messy critical.
Okay. Oh,
2 successes.
Valentina.
4 successes.
Okay. A flash of light draws your attention to the front windows as it illuminates the front of the bar. As your eyes adjust to these headlights, you see a large black paneled van pull into the parking lot out front of the establishment. You know this to be one of Solomon's vans, a van he's loaned to you in the past for deliveries. It's very noteworthy, but at the same time, easily overseen. People don't know what they're looking for. It's shiny, washed, in pristine condition. But in certain company might give off a suspicious quality for being a windowless van. But at this time of night, who's to notice? August, as you see the lights illuminate, you find yourself slightly startled by it. And in doing so, the beast inside of you starts to coil in reaction like a cornered predator. Your hunger raises by 1. As the van pulls out front, the headlights shut off and the engine is cut. And climbing out of the van is a wall of a man. Muscular and tall with a square jaw and an almost emotionless, stony face. Doberman, the right-hand man of Solomon Creed, his body man, but also often his liaison to those that work for him, climbs out of the car and just stares towards the establishment expectantly.
All right.
I believe that's our cue.
Yep. Game faces, everybody.
Yep, let's go.
And Jeremiah is going to take his own advice and activate heightened senses.
Okay. As you close your eyes for a moment, dulling out the other senses before allowing them to sharpen, the lights seem a little bit brighter. You swear you could hear a pin drop a block away as everything becomes active, awake. Maybe for the first time this evening, you truly feel alive, more than alive, as the sounds, the heartbeat, the thrum of the city enters into your consciousness. You can smell the disinfectant cleaning products that were used to wipe down the tables. You can taste that intangible aura that certain spirits give upon the air. You all head towards the doorway, leaving the establishment and heading to the parking lot outside. Stepping outside, the night air greets you with that dense humidity that Florida is known by. Now, thankfully, the weather has been warming up after several chilly nights due to yet another cold snap from a very harsh Florida winter. But as it is in the 70s, even this late at night, it's comfortable. especially to those from the south. It's a welcome repose from the harsh winter. Stepping outside, Doberman, a Bruja, takes each one of you in, sizing you up as you step through the door, as he has oft before. It's, in a way, his way of saying hello. So as he looks each of you up and down as you step out, he moves to the sliding back door of the van and pulls it open. While you expected, based off of the letter, to see perhaps a living vessel, something you've delivered before, instead, you see a large wooden box. About 6 or so feet long, 3 feet wide, sealed with nails. It's a crate, all right, but what's inside? Can't help but wonder as the curiosity starts to grab hold. Doberman gives a grunt and then reaches into his pocket, fishing out the keys, and tosses them in your direction.
I will catch him. Thank you, Doberman.
He gives a curt nod in response. Boss wants it there tonight. Don't dilly-dally.
Boss gets what boss wants.
He nods again in acknowledgement. And then, without another word, immediately starts to walk out towards the street where you see another car, a luxury sedan of sorts, parked already on the curb. A rather featureless driver behind the wheel. As Doberman reaches the driver's side, yanking the door open, the individual quickly slides over and out of the way, making sure not to wait or keep Doberman waiting for too long. As the large man climbs into the vehicle, you can hear the groan of the car under his weight as he climbs in, before turning on the engine and the headlights that had previously been off, obscuring its location and arrival, and the car starts to pull away. So here, you as a coterie stand, a wooden box in the back of the vehicle, seeming to be the only item in the back of the vehicle. Now there's enough room for all 4 of you to climb in and drive, of course, but it is going to be a somewhat tight and cramped fit for those who climb into the back, as there's only a driver's side seat and a passenger side seat.
Jeremiah's eyes haven't left the box. This isn't what he was expecting, but it's real interesting to him. So he's going to climb in and run his fingers over it, give it a good look over. He'll trust that the driving aspect of the night will get taken care of, but for right now, he's intrigued with this box.
Your wits and awareness and heightened senses especially, I'd like you to give me, or with your heightened senses active, I'd like a wits and awareness with aspects.
As he climbs into the back, August kind of shakes his head at the whole interaction, and he'll climb in the back as well and keep his eyes on Jeremiah and his intent as he kind of sits there trying to make himself as comfortable as possible in the back of a van such as this.
With 2
Bo,
successes. Oh, go ahead.
Bo, do you want shotgun or do you want to drive?
I'll drive. And Bo will get in the driver's seat.
Jeremiah, 2 successes is enough. as you get close to the box, an odor that would easily be overlooked by anyone else is magnified by your senses. And as it hits your nostrils, you feel your insides begin to churn, not nauseously, but with desire. Because the scent that hits your nostrils isn't blood, but the faintest odor of vitae. It's masked by a heavy musk that maybe smells like motor oil and sweat and street and city. But you're a kindred, and your heightened abilities allow you to pierce through that to the source, to the core, to what's hidden beneath. There's a kindred in this box.
So, as he looks at Jeremiah,
Sorry. He'll open his eyes as he's been focusing on the smell of it. And he'll say, I guess I have to revise my assessment. Not a live one.
Give me a composure and resolve, Jeremiah, as the odor, while not necessarily your preferred taste, is very tempting regardless. Because vitae is the sweetest taste a kindred can have. Blood is great, it's fine, it'll soothe the beast, it'll get you by, but vitae means power.
at hearing him say that, he'll look at the box now. Is it locked? Is there an obvious lock on the outside of it?
It looks like nails have been hammered into the lid, securing it. But no, there's no obvious padlocks or anything like that. It is literally a shipping crate about the size of a person.
That's going to be 0 successes.
Okay. As that smell gets in through your nostrils, down to your throat, which starts to burn, goes down to your stomach, which almost empties itself, seemingly, as the hunger starts to take hold. I need everyone else that's able to make a wits and insight check.
That is 3 for me.
That is 1 for me.
Yeah. Bo, you're too busy getting the car started to really acknowledge what's happening in the back, but August, Jeremiah's going to open that box.
He sits for a half second, almost willing to let it happen, before he stands up in a crouched sort of position in the back of this van and saunters his way over to the side, right next to Jeremiah, and he'll just whisper, like a voice in his head, and say, "Are you sure?" And there's a smile on his face.
August, give me a charisma and persuasion, or manipulation and persuasion. I'll leave the choice up to you. Jeremiah, give me a wits and composure.
That's 1.
Messy critical, 5 successes.
Yeah, you're sure.
Yeah. We need to know. We don't need to know what we're walking into. And I
Well,
guess-
you've convinced me. And he'll take a half step back and watch.
he'll look around. I don't suppose there's a crowbar or a hammer or anything that might be capable of opening the box.
At this moment in the van itself, seemingly not. However, there is a small bag used for roadside tools, for jacking up a tire or, prepared to change a tire. So there is a part of the jack that possibly could be used as a crowbar. The one used for loosening lug nuts has the other flatter end that looks like it could be used for a crowbar. At this point, Bo and Valentina, you hear the ruckus happening in the back.
What's going on back there?
Please tell me you're not about to do something stupid.
No. As he said. Well, I guess you didn't hear, but we're just figuring out what we're walking into. And if August has also noticed the bag, he'll actually reach over and hand it to Jeremiah. Be like, you were looking for this?
Please tell me you ain't planning on opening that damn box.
It's not that bad of an idea. We've had worse. Gotta figure out what we're walking into.
We were specifically instructed not to let the package be hurt or damaged in any way. Is this really the decision that you wish to go?
So, Jeremiah, I'll give you a choice. You can either make the strength and athletics roll, plus 1 die, because you do have a tool that will assist you to open the box, or you can spend a willpower to hold off. Listening to reason.
He will take the bag and reach into it, put his hand around the jack. And as his coterie mates, well, at least some of them talk reason, he'll start to game it out. And he realizes that he's been dancing at the tune of his beast. And he will make an effort of will and put the bag down.
But spending the willpower to resist means also taking another level of hunger, as your beast is very displeased at this development. It's right there. It's right in front of you. All you had to do was help yourself. But with this exerting of will, you can hold off, at least for now.
He will move back to the back of the van. Just try and get a little bit of distance.
Scooting back to the rear of the van. Your eyes can't leave the box, no matter how hard you try. But as you get a little bit of space, that odor grows ever so fainter. But it's still very much there. August, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, he'll reach and take the bag, move to the opposite side of the van, still in the back compartment, and sit down, setting it in between his legs, sort of guarding it. And he'll just share a glance with Jeremiah, even if he doesn't meet his eyes. And I think we're good to go.
All right. So we'll start the car and head off.
Engaging the engine, it starts up almost immediately. Shift into gear and start to drive out onto the streets of Tampa. The streets of Tampa are a metropolitan maze, pierced through by the highway known as I-275, which meets up with I-4 and I-75. The city streets itself, your preferred method of travel, are a tangled web of major intersections and small back roads, neighborhoods. It's very easy to get lost or lose your way on the streets of Tampa. This is your job and has been for a few months. You're getting to know the city better. But how much better is the question. So, Bo, as the driver, I need you to make a wits and drive check. And Valentina, as the co-pilot, as it were, you can offer assistance if you have dots in drive.
I would like to do that.
Okay, Bo, so you can take an additional dot or an additional dice in your pool to make this roll.
Four successes.
4 successes. Easily enough, Ybor City is a pretty major hotspot. It's near where the cruise lines actually board out of the port of Tampa. And so taking the back roads, you're able to find a way towards the streets of Ybor. But it wouldn't be any fun if it was just a peaceful drive. So I need the 2 passengers in the back and Valentina to make me a wits and awareness check. Success for August, 3 for Valentina.
It's 4 with the messy crit. Fun.
Tearing your eyes away from the box is a difficult task, Jeremiah. So difficult, in fact, that you are going to gain yet another hunger as the beast is growing ever more frustrated with your attempts to keep it from what it desires. Your throat almost feels dry, cracked at this point. Your teeth, against your will, are extended and bared. Your stomach is an empty pit growing ever deeper, almost like an abyss in your chest. But you are able to tear your eyes away from the box. Valentina, looking in the rearview mirror, what you both spot outside of the normal traffic is a car blow through a red light to turn behind the van, cutting off other drivers as it starts to follow behind your vehicle. Now, you know these streets. It's been a few months of working for Solomon, and you know that one of the biggest enemies he's made is a very, very prestigious organization known as the Circulatory System. After a recent hijack attempt proved successful, and Solomon was able to make off with many vessels once belonging to the Circulatory System, vengeance is undoubtedly on their mind. And like vultures, they are on the lookout for any recognizable vehicles, any intelligence as to Solomon's business. And a black paneled van, sparkling, is almost like a beacon in the night if you know what you're looking for. So at this point, there is a chase car behind the vehicle. What do you do?
Bo, Think
Yeah.
fast. We're being followed.
Shit. Alright. Will... Are we on a major street?
I would say at this point, after taking a series of back roads to get to a street that will take you towards Ybor, yes, you are on one of the more major streets.
Okay. Fast thinking. Gonna pull into the next neighborhood that I see and weave through the streets to try to lose the car that's following us.
Okay. Give me a manipulation and drive, strangely enough, as you are trying to do a course that is going to throw off the follow vehicle. Valentina, you can assist as well with your dots and drive, pointing out possible quick turns.
I would like to do that.
Take an additional die. Bo?
3 successes.
Successes. Okay. Roll counter. Okay. The chase car keeps up with you for a while, for the first few turns. But then, as you jerk the wheel at the last second, speeding up down a street, the other vehicle doesn't have enough time to make that turn and ends up going past before the sound of screeching tires is the soundtrack of the car trying to make a rapid turnaround. But it buys you enough time to get down the street and make another turn without them aware of what direction you're heading. In the back, gentlemen, I'd like you both to make dexterity and athletics checks as the car is being jostled and you don't exactly have the right seatbelts or anything to hold you in place.
One success.
Okay. The first turn is fine. The second turn is fine. But the third turn ends up tossing you end over the box, sending you reeling and stumbling against one of the nearby walls. Both of you take a superficial damage. Not too bad, but not comfortable either.
Real smooth.
Sorry, trying to move fast.
No, you're right. You're
I'm
right.
not convinced you didn't do that on purpose, okay? Jeez.
Once I've gotten some bearings under me, I would like to pull up my cell phone and using my influence in the city government, I'd just like to basically put a report out there of a car that matches the description of something convenient that's happening right now. That matches the description of that car.
Yeah, so the vehicle that was following you appeared to be a black SUV, possibly an Explorer, an Escalade, or something of that sort, with tinted windows. Now, that's a pretty generic description, all things considered, but with the benefit of location, which you have, I'd like you to roll a manipulation and either subterfuge or persuasion, and you can add your influence to it.
I will also be adding the address of that light they ran. Who knows? There might be a camera.
I'll take this quick opportunity while I see he's actually visibly distracted to rearrange his seating. I want to be closer to the package than he is in case something like that happens again. And while maintaining whatever control you can over the implements you would use to open it.
4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. Were you sending a text or making a call?
Sending a text.
Okay. As you send the text, you get a response back saying, acknowledged, we'll send out an APB. Getting back on the road once more, Bo, I'd like you and Valentina both to make separate wits and awareness checks. Now, as a reminder, you have the option, Bo, of blood searching if you wanted to by making a rouse check to add 2 additional dice to the roll if you so choose. But that's not required, just reminding you of that ability.
Gonna try it. Got a 7.
Yeah, so your hunger does not go up, but you are able to add 2 additional dice to your pool. 3 successes for you, Valentina.
That is 1 success.
Okay. Continuing driving onward, you end up pulling back onto the main roadway. Valentina, as you are watching, you see parked in a kind of corner lot, a parking lot of a gas station, you see a very similar black SUV parked there facing the roadway. And as Bo turns onto the street and continues forward, the headlights of the SUV flick on and they move to follow, pulling out onto the road.
Hey, Bo, you did a great job. Unfortunately, it looks like we have another tail.
Oh,
And Val will point, I'm assuming, as we start like going past them.
So you have another
shit.
tail. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go into a neighborhood on the other side of the main road and try the same thing again.
Yeah. Give me another manipulation and drive.
Guys, buckle in.
Yeah, that's an option.
As the 2 of you look around the back of this cargo van, there is no buckling in.
I just grab
Maybe
onto the crate.
There's some bungee cords in that bag of yours that you could strap around yourself, but that won't do much good.
I'll just brace.
I'm gonna brace myself against the assumably heavy crate.
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. So as you turn into the neighborhood across the street, I need the 2 of you again in the back to make a dexterity and athletics check.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay. 1 success from Jeremiah. 3 successes from August. August, you are able to brace yourself, pressing your feet against the wooden crate and anchoring your back against the wall. You are able to prevent too much jostling from happening. However, Jeremiah, with a hard thud, hits his back and the back of his head against the side of the van. Jeremiah, take another point of superficial physical damage as your head knocks against, and for a moment, with your heightened senses, it almost sounds like a large drum was banged against right in your ears, and the shock of the impact on the back of your head causes your eyes to see stars temporarily.
It's just not your night, is it?
Really isn't. Good job, Bo. Keep it up.
Valentina,
I'm sorry.
keeping your awareness score, you can see Bo has not been able to successfully shake the tail this time.
They're still behind
keeping
it.
enough of a distance back to be able to anticipate or see whatever turns Bo makes well in advance of passing them, whereas the other car was right up on your tail.
I've got an idea, Bo. Slam on
What's
the
that?
brakes. get them close, and do it at the next intersection.
Alright. Brace yourselves, and we'll do as Valentina says. Sudden stop.
Jeremiah's just gonna lay down.
I'm gonna move next to him and sort of look at him like this didn't happen, and I'm gonna put my arm around him to brace both of us.
So, Bo, as instructed, you slam on the brakes, which causes the van to go to a screeching halt. I won't make either of you in the back roll this time. You are able to anticipate what's about to happen, which is previously you weren't. So braced, you feel yourself jostle forward, but then putting your hands out, you're able to either stop yourself on the back of the front seats or on the crate itself. As the car comes to a screeching halt, the other vehicle slows and comes to a stop, still probably a good 20 or 30 feet behind. The headlights remain on, illuminating the back of the vehicle.
Is this an on-3 situation?
Honestly, I was really hoping that they were going to keep moving forward.
We might have to.
Wait till they get out and then punch it.
Okay, give me a, Bo, since you're the driver, a manipulation and subterfuge as you attempt to act like you're going to be remain stopped before peeling out.
Two successes.
Successes. A few long moments pass. Then the driver's side door opens and a man starts to climb out of the driver's side of the vehicle. The passenger side and the two back doors open as well. And a group of individuals climb out of the car.
Wait.
I wait till they're about 5 feet from all of the doors before punching it.
Okay. As they begin to advance upon the vehicle, you immediately slam down upon the gas and the tires screech against the pavement. However, gunshots ring out from behind you. Bo, I need a dexterity and drive to prevent them from hitting the car, or at least not anywhere important.
It's 2 successes.
As you are jerking the wheel back and forth almost in a zigzag pattern upon hearing those gunshots, August and Jeremiah, you hear the sounds of ricocheting as bullets strike the side of the vehicle. Luckily, they don't seem to hit anywhere important or anything that would stall the vehicle for the moment as you pull back out of the neighborhood and onto the street. You have gotten away this time. But as you're driving, I need everybody to make me a wits and awareness check.
Somebody check the package.
I'll begin looking it over, make sure it wasn't hit.
Jeremiah, you can add your aspects as you still have your heightened senses active. Okay.
3 successes.
2, 2, 3. Nothing, Valentina? 0? Okay. You're too focused on the road. But, Bo, amidst all this chaos and everything that's going on, you smell gasoline.
Shit.
What is it?
Gasoline.
Fuck.
How far are we from Evanescent? Evanescence?
Evanes, you are.
Evanes?
You probably could make it on what gas you have. The vehicle was pretty much full up at the time that you received it, or just partially, just a little bit down. But the question is, once you get there, will it be able to get you home?
Mission first. Let's get it there.
Alright.
Push comes to
We'll
shove, we
figure-
can always call a car.
All right, Ace, I need Bo to roll me a wits and drive again. This is just simply to make sure you don't do anything that could potentially cause a problem for that leaking gas that is coming out of the vehicle at the moment. Even a spark could mean very bad things for this group.
I'm going to use a willpower.
Jeremiah is gonna pray to a god he no longer believes in.
That's 2.
Okay. 2 successes is enough to remain safe for the time being. Driving through the streets, you can see that gas needle edging down just a little bit at a time. It doesn't seem to be a strong leak, but it is definitely going to inhibit the progress of this vehicle eventually. As you quickly find your way into Ybor City, there are the cobblestone streets made of brick. There's the old, almost New Orleans style buildings that line the street itself. Being a weekday, the crowds aren't as thick as they are on the weekend, but there is still a smattering of population out on the streets, as there are nightclubs and bars open till 3 a.m. even on weekdays, and those who want to party will not be stopped. Eventually, you end up pulling up to a business located at the top of a large stone staircase. Matching the photo, you can see the elegant purple script that says Evanes on the top of the building, heralding what remains within. As the vehicle comes to a stop, this is where we're going to take our break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaboration with our partnered vendors: Chromatic Creations, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Champs Tramps, and Howl and Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetbynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our programs, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling. Welcome back. As we return, our kindred have arrived outside of Evanes Tattoo Parlor, the location of their very, very suspicious delivery. A large wooden crate placed in the back of the van that at least one of them knows smells of vitae. Hunger has started to creep up on several of you, as it often does being a kindred. Now, your delivery wasn't for a specific time other than had to be done tonight. So, you have a choice ahead of you. One, you can proceed with the delivery, risking the hunger that's clawing at your throat, your stomach, your mind. Or you could attempt to go hunting on this fairly populated but not overly busy street in Ybor City. That poses its own risks, because this is not your territory. As you are sitting in the van, the glowing purple of the Evanescence sign, almost piercing through the other colors of street lights. What do you want to do?
Just a real quick question. Is there like a dolly or something in the back of this van?
No.
All right.
Yeah,
Well-
Jeremiah is clearly weighing things over, his eyes just sort of drifting back to the box. I know I need to recenter myself. But if half the things I've heard about dragons are true, we don't want to go poaching. That's a bad idea.
Should make our introduction first. And then
Yeah.
deliver. Somebody should stay here with the package.
I will.
Good.
Yeah. Bo, how you feeling?
I'm a little hungry, but humans aren't appealing. I'm sure I'm fine. I don't think it'll cause too much of a problem.
Roll me a wits and awareness, Bo.
One success.
Okay. So the city of Ybor has a very peculiar feature about it. See, this basically was at one time Little Havana, including old cigar factories and businesses. But the strangest thing about Ybor is the chickens. And yes, I mean chickens that take up population in the city, roaming the parking lots freely and uninhibited as they are a protected species in the city, a herald of a former time. So roosters and chickens can be seen openly walking amongst the gravel parking lots that line either side of the street behind the businesses within. That, and occasionally you can see someone walking their dog along the sidewalk nearby.
So I think what you're telling me is you're just not hungry enough yet. I'm sure this night will fix that. But,
It's definitely testing that.
well, we should make our introduction first. Unless you plan on staying here with Val?
I'll go in with y'all.
Well, I'll slide the door open, step out, sort of stretch a bit and look around at the surroundings.
Okay. There is a long stone staircase that leads up from the outside to the second floor. There is the large open windows with purple drapes hanging around, framing the outside of the windows. There's a ambient glow coming from within, possibly from halogen signs, but also from what looks to be a bright light seated further back in the building, most likely a tattooer's light meant to make sure that they get the best vision possible. Out on the street, there are a handful of people passing at all times, whether they're going to or coming from one of the bars or restaurants along the street. You can hear laughter, conversation happening nearby. But otherwise, everything seems normal.
Let's
He'll
head
look
up.
back. He'll look back at you, Jeremiah. sort of dust himself off, fix his suit that he's been wearing this whole time as best he can, look at you also a bit disheveled and say, as good as it's gonna get, I guess. And he'll begin walking towards the stairway while still looking at the people around him, make sure no one's keeping a close eye, or if they are, to make sure that they notice that I am noticing.
Nobody seems to be paying too much attention to you as you mount the stairs up to the second floor to the glass paneled doors that lead into Evanesce. One of the things that makes this place so appealing to its clientele is the hours, because it appears that it is open with the same hours as any bar until 3 a.m. As you approach, you find the door unlocked and you open, entering in to the parlor beyond. As you enter into the tattoo parlor, you are met almost immediately by a wall of sound as heavy metal and punk anthems echo from speakers mounted up in the corners of the room. Jeremiah, this is a very uncomfortable sensation for you, with the heightened senses almost making it 10 times louder than it should be. Do you choose to maintain your senses, or are you going to let them drop in this moment?
If he wasn't so hungry, he'd try and endure it, but he will take a moment and bring his senses back down to normal. Just sort of sigh with relief.
Settling, the music reaches a normal pitch for you, which is still pretty loud, all things considered, but to anybody who's been to a tattoo parlor before, this is not an unknown sensation. Behind the counter in the back of the room, you see large black leather seats that are the entire length of a person. You see tattoo implements and tools laid out by these chairs, as well as a wall of mirrors that allow individuals to gaze upon themselves. The counter itself is covered in designs that are featured as possibilities, and almost immediately your eyes are drawn to the feature of a coiled dragon looking menacingly upon any who enters through the front door, its jaws extended, long, sharp, dagger-like teeth lining its mouth. This is a featured design in the front. The word Evanesce is carved into the top of the wooden countertop. After a few moments, you hear what sounds like a gong of a bell heralding your arrival coming from the front door. Some have those motion sensor ding dongs. This is instead a gong that rings out. And after a few moments, coming from the back, you see a very lithe, thin figure with skin that is almost white with how pale it is. It would take a kindred choosing not to blush to bear this exterior appearance. They have black eyeliner surrounding heterochromia eyes, one green, one blue, and long raven black hair that is shaved underneath and completely swept over to one side that dangles down to their shoulder. They have piercings lining their ear and nose, even a piercing through their chin. They have a very slender and angular face, and they have tattoos lining their neck, going down onto their chest, all the way down their arms on either side. They're wearing a tight black vest with no shirt underneath that is clinging to their form, and black leather gloves on both hands that they seem to be removing as they step out, showing long, elegant, and nimble fingers with black nail polish at the end of the fingers. As they remove the gloves and set them aside. They're wearing black vinyl pants that cling very tightly to their legs, and a studded leather belt holding them up, as well as black heeled boots that give them an even taller boost to their already tall frame, standing at 6'3" normally. This makes them closer to 6'4", 6'5", with the heels upon the boots. You can hear the clattering of those heels on the tile floor as they make their way up to the front counter with a thin-lipped smile that extends across their face. And if you didn't know better, it even looks a little bit wider than it should for any normal human. But as they approach, they speak with a thickly, heavily Eastern European accented tone. Good evening. What brings you to my humble abode?
Good evening. Looking for Vesper.
As those eyes fall upon you, Bo, beauty is a very subjective thing. But based off of your reaction during the description, I'd like you to make me a composure and resolve check.
As we've entered and as we heard them approaching, August has walked up towards the counter and is just looking at the art pieces displayed.
3 successes.
Okay. As you feel yourself start to sink into those very unusual, almost alien eyes, you're able to yank yourself out of it, not falling into the trance that your clan is subject to when gazing upon something stunning and beautiful as this individual is. Tattoos line just under one of their eyes, a pattern that goes down to the ear and across the neck, joining the other tattoos down below. Are you here for some artwork? Perhaps a piercing or two?
Perhaps another time when we aren't here on business.
He reaches out a long finger and then just touches Bo's chin, moving it to the side ever so slightly. Forgive me, when I see a beautiful canvas, I can't help but wonder about the possibilities. I am Vesper, and this is my place of business. I assume you are of the late night clientele variety based off of your smell.
We are.
What do you want with me? He says, his eyes still locked on Bo.
Jeremiah's gonna step up. He's does not like this guy. The fact that he, without consent, touched Bo kind of pisses him off. He says, "We have something for you."
He turns his gaze finally from Bo, looking upon Jeremiah. What do you? I'm an equal opportunity proprietor. What do you have for me?
Believe you're expecting a package.
Vesper looks Jeremiah up and down for a moment. I am. You have the package I require, is the question.
Waiting in a van below.
Well, feel free to pull the vehicle around the back and I will meet you by the service entrance. I think that you will have a very difficult time bringing it in here up those troublesome steps.
Troublesome, but well, architecture is its own reward. After all, be around the back.
Just a moment. I don't just let anyone in my back door without a little bit more getting to know each other. You've come here, you know my name. What is yours?
Jeremiah.
He
They call me
studies.
Bo.
He studies Jeremiah for a moment, then nods, then is drawn to Bo as she speaks, and then finally looks towards August. And you?
He'll look up towards the dragon figure and then look over to Vesper. Carter.
Roll me a manipulation subterfuge.
That is my mask name, so
That's fine, but you are still
Yeah.
lying. That is not the name he wants.
just yeah, this is true. You said manipulation and subterfuge.
Mm-hmm.
Does ingenu apply here?
Sure, why not?
Three successes.
He just stares for several moments after you say the name Carter, and then he responds, Carter. All right. From which families do you hail? I know yours, he says, looking towards Bo.
That easy to tell?
Can't help but admire a work of art when you pass it, and only one family is fond of that kind of artwork. However, others can be made beautiful if that is their desire. But the natural beauty don't come by that often.
We don't put much stock in the movement and clans. But if you must know, I hail from the clan of the moon.
Ah, yes, the movement. An uprising once more. I remember the first. So I believe this one has a better chance.
Would
Clan
that
of
be
the Moon.
because of your assistance?
We'll see.
Hmm.
And you, Carter.
He'll sort of take off his glasses and put them in a pocket. I'd actually like to hear your opinion on that.
You see him stare for a long time, and then you hear a deep inhalation of breath that comes with a rattling sensation in the back of the throat, almost like a heavy purr, or perhaps a muted growl. Detect a faint, but also I know a masquerade when I see it. Your attire and overall demeanor would make me think the Clan of Kings or the Imposter Clan. But I believe there's something hidden and surprising about you. I will say, based off of the information I have gathered so far, you would have me believe you are a warlock. You are quite a distance from the chantry, and an anarch no less. I hope you are up to date on your history about what the clan did to anarchs previously.
Well, to use the words of someone much older than I, we'll see.
Aside from delivering precious resources, what do you do?
Bo will place a hand on their chin and lean in a little bit. Why don't you take a wild guess?
Again, there's that long inhalation. Fear. Wet. Oh, good, perhaps pine. Vinyl. I would guess you work in a nightclub or bar, but not as a servant. It is not on your hands. Knowing your clan, you are an artist. Artist comes in many forms, as you see. To you, I would say poet or musician, though the two are not separated as far as some would think.
You are correct in assuming a musician.
And a good one at that, I'll attest.
Have no doubt. And you, are you a professor of some kind or librarian?
Seems my effort aren't it is in vain, as you made them out to be. No, I do what is required. My day job, I guess as you could say, is antiques, things of that nature.
Peaks. An antiquator.
Of a sort.
Then I'm sure you find me most appealing. He says with a wide smile once more. Now, looking at him, he couldn't be, on outward appearances alone, more than 23, maybe? But in the world of Kindred, that is all too deceiving by design.
You'd be correct.
And you, finally, last but not least, you have the look of a stockbroker or office worker, but when he takes a long inhalation in, smell competition, stress, hard-fought battles, but not on a battlefield of sorts that most would expect. A different battlefield. One of boardrooms and offices, stages and podiums.
Astute. But I'd boil it down further. You want to know what I do? I know things. That's where the real power is.
Well said.
Couldn't agree more. Knowledge is power to those who know how to wield it. And I have never mistook the clan of the moon to be fools. Such is peril. So how do you wield your knowledge, Jeremiah?
Well, for one thing, I don't give too much away for free. That's kind of the first rule they teach you.
It's true. What would you wish to know in exchange?
You say you have familiarity with the old rebellion. That's something I am keenly interested in.
I have a great many stories to tell. But yes, I am familiar with the first rebellion and its failure.
Then, if you had to pick one reason, why did it fail?
Just one?
We don't have all night.
To be Anarch is to go against our very nature as predators, as those who hold dominion. But nor are we be downtrodden upon by those who think they know better from afar. The Camarilla has its own issues, as I'm sure you are all very keenly aware. If I had to choose but one reason, is how you say, too many cooks in the kitchen, too many chefs, too many voices, all wanting different things, all thinking their subject is more important than the next. They can't unify. They had no chance against such a force that holds an iron grasp among those who follow it. Unity makes us or divides us, and often it is the latter. It also doesn't help when you inject humans into the mix. The kind, especially the kind who know more than they should.
That was a very good answer. And I agree with your sentiment.
So let's go deeper, Ramaya.
You've diagnosed a problem. What I do, what I try to do, is fix that problem. The ethos of anarchy is anathema to structure. But we can get ourselves on the same page just for a few nights to move the needle, to use the time we have to grab a little bit more for ourselves. So I make the plans, put the words in the right ears, I introduce people. This one needs something, that one needs another. Two problems solve each other, and the movement marches on just a couple more inches. That's what I do.
A warrior, not unlike the Jeremy McNeil or the Nines Rodriguez, but you have a sharpened mind, not just strong of arm. The movement certainly could use more who think before they act.
Well, they're lucky they got me then.
Indeed. Not unlike the three swornmen.
Jeremiah tenses at the name of Vorman. I've heard of her.
And you, both, do you agree with this sentiment?
Yes.
Yeah.
That pause. You have a leash attached to you, don't you, my dear? It's all right. Many kindred do. But should you ever wish that leash broken, I would be happy to avail you of my services for a price.
Big
There's
words.
always a price.
Big words for big fish in this sea.
That's to be certain.
As pleasant as all this is,
Of course, business.
we've had other parties sniffing around your big wooden box. We shouldn't tally.
That we should not. Please, retrieve the package and bring it to the loading dock. I will meet you there. Meanwhile, outside. Valentina, as you sit outside in the van, waiting for your coterie mates to return, your eyes tracing over the building, purple stirring up some feelings inside about your domitor, about your history, about their family. A knock on the passenger side window startles you out of the gaze as you look to see a young man, maybe 22, 23, standing outside, otherwise unremarkable, with short blonde hair and blue eyes, wearing a Tampa Bay Rays t-shirt, jeans, tennis shoes, probably just a bar goer from the area. Hey, you know you're leaking gas, right?
Oh, thank you for letting me know. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, no problem. Just anything bad happening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Everything all right?
Yeah, it's just been a long night.
I get that I was just actually on my way home. Well, if you don't need anything, if you're sure you're good, I'll leave you be. Just wanted to let you know about the gas thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Gives you a little salute before starting down the sidewalk, meeting up with a group of others that are out further down the street. As you're sitting here, considering everything that's happened this evening, considering this task and these reminders of the past, what's going through Valentina's mind throughout all of this as her companions have walked into the cave which dwells a dragon?
Val is very much anxious, knowing that, people were tailing us earlier, and also knowing that at some point in time she zoned out into, worrying about other things. And to be quite honest, she's just anxious, just waiting, hoping that there's a call. She has her phone in her hand. She also has Jeremiah, ready to be called if, something goes wrong. And then she kind of looks up into the rear view and looks at the box and is so very interested in what could be in there.
As you look into the rearview mirror back at the box, you see just beyond the tinted windows in the back of the van a figure standing in the street, probably 10 or so feet behind the car. Long black hair, gently falling to shoulders, with a low-cut gown, revealing a tantalizing amount. Startled by the sight of what you believe to be your dormitory, you blink, and as you look once more, they're gone. However, the flashing of warning lights on the dashboard and the radio crackling a little bit gives you pause.
I very much am made uneasy by this, and I kind of go a little bit paranoid as I start kind of looking around just a bit more. And honestly, after taking a glance in the side view mirrors, if I'm able to get up and kind of make my way into the back of the van itself, I do so.
So you climb out of your seat and move around to the back. Your eyes keep flitting back to that back window, double checking that they aren't actually out there, that she isn't actually out there. But there's nothing. Just people walking down the streets. Shadows dancing their way across, extended outward from where there is only pools of light illuminating the road. You reach the wooden crate. Give me a wits and investigation.
Alrighty. Wait. 2 successes.
Looking over the crate itself, it seems to be, for the most part, intact. But as you look at the crate's surface, you see a separation, ever so slight separation in between 2 of the panels that make up the crate's lid. The light from the dome light casts down upon the top of the crate, and you see an eye staring back in your direction, open wide in fear and shock, unblinking.
I very calmly kind of keep my gaze glanced over, trying to make it seem like I didn't notice them. And then, if at all possible, I kind of grab the bag for, roadside assistance and place it on top of where that crack is, in a way of just being like,
Roll me a wits and resolve.
I'm gonna use a willpower. I feel like it might be important. 3 successes.
Okay. You feel a pressure start to enter your mind, and you hear whispering for a moment, but then it just stops as you are able to reassert those walls and push that presence outward. Taking a deep breath, your heart racing, pounding against your chest. She couldn't be here. What's in this box? Who's in this box? That's when your gaze is drawn out the driver's side window to the front doors opening of the tattoo parlor, and your 3 coterie mates descending the stairs to approach the vehicle.
As they start to approach the vehicle, Val kind of leans forward to the front of the van and kind of does a little hush number, and kind of gestures to the box and like circles around her eye, trying to get across to them. Whoever's in there's awake.
August, Bo, and Jeremiah, you exit the building, that gong hitting once more with the opening of the door. And as you descend the stairs, you can see Valentina gesturing maybe a little bit frantically in your direction towards the box and towards their face. But go ahead.
Yeah, Jeremiah will be seeing Val's distress. He'll make his way down and just kind of like give her an inquisitive look, like, "What's up?"
They're awake.
Sucks for them, not our problem. Let's get this thing back.
They might.
We gotta figure out if this vehicle will even move in the first place. If not, we're carrying this crate across the parking lot.
If someone wants to give me a wits and drive, they can try and look over the vehicle to see if it's still operational.
I will do that, if that is all right.
I can assist.
Yeah, go ahead, Valentina.
3 successes.
3 successes. As you get out of the vehicle and start to look around the exterior, that smell of gas is ever present. Getting down on the ground and looking underneath, you see a steady dripping coming from beneath the vehicle near the back. Most likely where a bullet ricocheted and struck the gas tank, causing a steady leak. But it doesn't seem to be too pronounced. Gas has such a strong smell that even just a little bit can overcome your senses. But you do see a pool forming underneath. Otherwise, looking over the overall vehicle itself, there doesn't seem to be any lasting damage. There's enough air in the tires, and checking the gauge in the front, the gas is maybe about 2/3 full at this point.
So will it move?
Should. Just, can you see if there's duct tape inside the bag? Don't move the bag, by the way.
Don't move it?
Yeah, it's on top of the box. Don't move the bag.
So I'll hop into the back and start rifling through the bag, but not really looking for anything. I look towards the box.
Are you actually moving the bag out of the way?
Yes.
Yeah. Just as previously described, you see an eye staring out in shock and fear through the slats. Roll me a wits and resolve.
Okay. That's a messy critical.
Okay.
So 4 successes.
As your hunger increases, you feel that pressure upon your mind starting to make its way in. And as the beast takes hold for a moment, a single sentence breaks through before you're able to shut them out. Help me!
Into my mind, I hear this.
Into your mind, yes.
I move back so I cannot see into the box. I say, last chance. What's going on? Who are you?
No voice, no response.
Right. Is there any duct tape in the bag?
Yeah, it's a basic roadside repair kit, so there is some sealant tape, as well as a jack and, the thing that unscrews the lug nuts, a wrench, and basically everything you would need, some roadside flares.
He's gonna pocket a flare and then pick up the duct tape and turn back to Val. Be like, here you go.
Val just puts the sealant tape like right over the crack. And it's just like, all right, that should hold for a little bit.
Give me a dexterity and craft really quick just to see how well it'll hold.
2 successes.
Okay. Yeah, you think you got a pretty decent seal. I mean, it's going to eventually leak through most likely because the tape will only give so much. But you think it'll last for a good while, at least.
All right. Where are we pulling this thing around to?
Guys, Val, you neglected to mention that. So this person in the crate has spoken to me in ways that do not require a mouth. Anyone know anything about that?
I don't think it really matters, to be quite honest.
We're turning
Our
them
job is
in.
to get them here.
We're turning them in, of course. But, as Jeremiah said, information is power. Much as we can know before then, without tampering with it.
I think we know what we need to know at this point. I just want to let's get this thing out of our hands. Val, probably best we call a tow truck for later.
Honestly, we might be able to get back just fine. Just fill it up. The seal should be okay.
Okay. I might call a car. I'm not driving a thing with a busted tank.
As you drive the van, moving it around back, you find a loading dock entrance, although it's mostly just a back door. They don't have like a shipping dock by any means, but the door is standing there, open, awaiting. You see Vesper standing in the doorway, leaning back against the door frame, arms crossed. But as you pull up and open the back door, he kind of tenses up as he takes a big breath in and then smiles. Oh yes, this is my package. You are correct about that. As a payment, you can tell Mr. Creed that I am vastly interested in hearing what he has to say. And as a tip for your humble generosity, feel free to dine in the neighborhood while you're here. I can smell the desperation on some of you.
Your graciousness is much appreciated.
He moves to the back of the vehicle, grabbing the edge of the crate, and easily enough yanks it out of the back of the car, and then proceeds to lift it up over his own head, the entire crate, and walks it back towards the entrance door, taking it in to the room. You hear the thud of it setting down, and roll me a wits and awareness, all of you.
This is rough.
For Jeremiah. 3 for Augustus. And 1 for Bo. Okay. So, August, you're the only one to hear the sound following the cracking of a lid opening. What you hear next is the grating sound of metal rubbing on metal as something is pulled open with a slight creak and that sound of the rubbing metal on it. You could try and roll me a intelligence and awareness to see if you can pinpoint or have a guess at what the sound would be.
And this is not within eye view of the doorway. I look to the others with a devious look on my face, and I'll walk to the doorway and say aloud as I'm. And what was the check? I'm sorry.
Intelligence and awareness.
So as I'm doing that, I will say out, Vesper, one more thing, as I'm trying to have an excuse to maybe catch a glance.
Okay.
I would like to be behind.
Okay. With 4 successes, that sound of grating steel is likely the sound of something metal being opened. But as you look into the room beyond, you see that most of it is shadow, aside from the light that's shining in the doorway. You hear Vesper respond, "Oh, what is that?"
I'd like the opportunity to swing by another time. I feel our conversation was cut short. Yours and mine, specifically.
You are always welcome to be my guest. And he flips on the light switch, and as the room behind him illuminates, you see a large metal cell with an individual dropped into the cell, a large stake protruding from their chest, that same look of fear and shock in their eyes. But that's not the only thing. Because also, off to the side, dressed in what looks to be a butler uniform of some kind, like a suit off to the side, is a thing. That's the best way to describe it, as it is made of flesh and bone, large protruding, almost spikes coming out of its side of its mouth in like a hooked pattern. It has 6 eyes upon its forehead and large hanging claws down at the sides. Its jaw distends open, filled with jagged teeth. See you again soon. And he closes the door to the back. And this is where our story comes to a close this evening. But not without one last scene. Our scene takes us to a dark room a single lamp's light casting a pool upon the floor. An overly stuffed armchair bears a gorgeous woman with blonde hair, movie star good looks, a button-up white shirt that is the first or top 6 or so buttons are undone, revealing just enough skin to be tantalizing. She wears a mini skirt with her legs crossed and sharp heels, stiletto-esque heels on her feet. She swirls a glass filled with a red viscous liquid in long fingers. After a moment, the light bulb of the lamp starts to flicker and it goes out before a moment later coming back on. And sitting next to her is that long black-haired woman dressed in an evening gown. Our possessions are getting up to no good. The blonde-haired woman says, "Yours, maybe. Mine is doing exactly what I want her to. And I look forward to her upcoming performance." This is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everyone watching at home. Go sign up for a Ko-fi membership where you can get access to behind-the-scenes information, including sneak peeks at artwork, including early access to certain releases, and including the Rosebud Thorns that'll take place right after this session, so you can hear what these amazing players have to say about tonight's session. Red Tide Rising is just getting started, and the Tampaverse has grown a little bigger and a little darker. So make sure to tune in here on YouTube next Sunday and go check out those other programs, including Rage Across Tampa on Tuesdays and Hellhounds on Fridays. The world is big, it is vast, and it is filled with terrors. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production, produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening, and until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.